Now, Barnaby Fletcher is a senior analyst at the Control Risks, the company that authored this report. We spoke to him on some of the things they look out for, and this is what he had to say.
Without saying that there's no trend that can be applied across the entire continent and hold true, but there are a number of things which I think are worth highlighting. The first of these is that the past few years we've seen a range of dramatic political developments, often bringing in new leaders with bold reformist agendas, such as Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in Ethiopia or President Joao Lourenço in Angola. And these have been really positive. But I think what investors need to remember is that leaders can't change their entire countries overnight. You know, the cliche of the African big man leader is a myth.
Well, I want to touch more on the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Do you see this increasing the attractiveness of Africa on the investment landscape?
I think one of the most important fundamental things is that a lot of discussion at the moment is around Africa's demographics, its incredibly young demographic profile, and the huge numbers of Africans who are going to be entering into the workforce over the next few years. This can be either a huge economic boom for the continent or a source of great risk if there are no jobs for all these young people entering the workforce. Now, the development model that Asia followed, whereby Western developed economies outsourced manufacturing jobs to Asia in order to, and provided them with jobs, is not really feasible for Africa in a world where there's growing economic nationalism and growing protectionism and growing automation. So to counter that, I think Africa has to increasingly look to develop its internal market. And the way it does that is by reducing the trade barriers and expanding the size of that market.
So what advice would you give to investors who are keen on betting their money on Africa?
A lot of our clients initially come to us asking about the key headline risks that they've read about, things like terrorism or expropriation. And actually, I mean, obviously it varies from country to country, but in most parts of the continent, just in most parts of the world, those are not the risks that you need to really be worrying about. Those are not what is going to make your investment succeed or fail. It's the almost more mundane risks, the understanding about bureaucratic processes and how long they may take, the understanding who your local partner is and whether there are any risks associated with them, understanding the kind of local environment and cultural context, the day-to-day kind of challenges of doing business, which in almost every case are very easily mitigable, but only if they're understood beforehand, before they build up and become a crisis.